Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Shai, Barakathum to you, hopefully elect out there. And this is another one of another topic that I had on the back of my mind, which it stemmed from this past Saturday at the camp. You know, you had one particular Jake. He was kind of asking these questions because, you see, one thing, a lot of us were under that false perception that, you know, in order to learn this Bible, we had to go into these physical buildings, right? When you read in Acts chapter 7, I'll pull that up. Acts chapter 7 verse 48. It says, "Howbeit the Most High dwelleth not in temples made with hands, as saith the prophet. Heaven is my throne, and earth is my footstool. What house would ye build me, saith the Lord, or what is the place of my rest?" So you see, here it is. Heaven is the Lord's throne, and the earth is the Lord's footstool, right? What makes you think that His Spirit can be contained in some building made with hands? You see, so the Spirit of the Lord is not, it doesn't dwell in temples made with hands. All right. And again, because, you know, this particular Jake, he was asking these questions dealing with, well, how can I get the truth? How can I be able to fellowship and congregate and, you know, get the truth? Not knowing that he was standing amongst the real church. He was standing in the midst of the real church, because, again, being that the Lord, His Spirit is not dealing with those physical churches, right? Those so-called churches, right? Let me get this in Matthew chapter 18. Matthew chapter 18. Verse 20. It says, "For where two or three are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them." So you see. All right. And for the most part, where are you going to find those? In the name, because, you know, concerning Yahweh Shema Shai, preaching Yahweh Shema Shai out there in the highways and hedges. That's where the real church is at. All right, that's where the real body's at, man. You see, that's where the real church is at, out there in the highways and hedges. Because, like I said, a lot of us were under that false perception that we had to go to the churches, the physical temples, and, you know, that's how we had to learn the Bible. No, man. All right, when you go to Ezekiel chapter 11. Ezekiel chapter 11, verse 16, it says, "Therefore say, thus saith the Lord power, although I have cast them far off among the heathen," because you see, another stronghold through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, we've been able to tear down, all right, going into the Gentiles, because contrary to popular belief, the Lord is not dealing with all nations. All nations cannot receive salvation. So oftentimes when the scriptures refer to, like scriptures that talk about the Jews and the Gentiles, right? Gentiles receiving salvation. Well, you got to understand what Gentiles that's referring to, because, again, like I said here, the Lord scattered His people amongst the heathen. All right, as a part of our punishment, you see, because not only do you have Israelites, their lineage goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Not only do you have Israelites that speak, talk like, act like, even look like the other nations, but believe it or not, they're actually currently living in these other lands. You still have Israelites today living in the land of China, Russia. All right, Israelites living in the land of Iran, and throughout the four corners of the earth. Israelites, believe it or not, are actually living in these other countries. And again, their lineage goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Believe it or not. Right? So with that being said, all right, when you read on, it says, "And although I have scattered them among the countries, yet will I be to them as a little sanctuary in the countries where they shall come." So you see, nowhere in the scriptures does it talk about how the Lord will be, does the Lord deal with mega churches. All right, it just said here the Lord will be He will be a little sanctuary. All right, and as I read, hey, where two or three are gathered in His name, Again, that's where the real church is at. Dealing with the different Israelite camps that are out there on the highways and hedges. Because again, the Lord is not dealing with those temples, man, those fake, those harlot houses as the scriptures describe them. All right, that's not where the Spirit of the Lord is at. You see? So, dealing with Jake, they ask these questions. Well, how can I? Because Jake often comes up and, well, how can I get the truth? Where can I go to get the truth? Well, hey, if you come up to the camp, that's where it's at. You are in the midst of the church, believe it or not. All right, because the Lord put it on certain men. He put the Spirit on certain men. He will raise certain men up. Because a bulk of the prophets are here in Babylon, but you do have other prophets scattered abroad. And that's within all the Israelite. That's within all Israelite groups. You have Israelite groups all over, man, all over the world. You see? But the Spirit of the Lord, He will put His Spirit on certain men. He will raise certain men up, all right, to teach this word, all right, which came by way of the internet. I did a video a couple of days ago going into the purpose, or one of the purposes of the internet, being that the Lord, He set the internet up so that judgment could be witnessed. But the main reason for the internet being set up is for this truth to get preached throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, to reach those Israelites that have been scattered amongst the different nations. That's the purpose that's the main purpose of the internet. Because the internet has done the heavy lifting. You see, the Apostle Tahar often talks about how, sometimes guys, hit them up and be like, hey, in certain places, man, they're popular. And these are places that the apostles never been to. Well, how is that possible? By way of the internet. The internet has done the majority of the heavy lifting. So that way, hey, we didn't have to go to, get a plane ticket and go to these different places. But you see, hey, the internet has served its purpose in reaching these Israelites scattered abroad the four corners of the earth. And that's how, hey, the Lord is able to, become a little sanctuary because, hey, hey, Jake, they wake up, they watch the videos, they wake up, watch the videos, and the Spirit will be compelled on them to go out there and teach on the highways and hedges, not in some building. You see, because again, that's where that's where the true church is at. The true calling, that's where the true church is at, out there on the highways and hedges. You see, Jake often, like I said, Jake is always coming, well, where can I learn more? Where can I find hey, come out to the camps. All right? That's where the real church is at. Come out there to the camps. Out there in the highways and byways. I'm going to read this in Luke chapter 14, verse 21. So that servant came and showed his Lord these things. So that servant came and showed his Lord these things. Then the master of the house, being angry, said to his servant, go out quickly into the streets and lanes and the city, and bring in hither the poor and the maimed and the halt and the blind. Yeah, because our people are sick, man. And, hey, when Jake, they're looking for answers, man. They're trying to figure out what's going on. You see? Jake is out there looking. Jake is looking. You see? And again, that's why, hey, the men of the Lord, they're out there on the highways and byways. That's why there's camps out there, pretty much in every major city. All right? For those Jakes that are looking, you come across one of these camps, hey, again, that's where the real church is at. All right? It says, and the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. And the Lord said unto the servant, go out into the highways and hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. So you see, and again, that's a job. Like I read, man, these are those little sanctuaries, scattered abroad. And pretty much in every major city, you have, Israelite camps, and throughout the four corners of the earth, there's Israelite camps. You see, but it's about being out there on the highways and the hedges. That's where the real church is at. You're not gonna, again, most of us, we were under that false perception. We had to go to these physical temples. No, man. The real church is out there on those highways and byways, and those are the little sanctuaries. All right. You see, man. So yeah, like I said, it was just a quick hit. Jake asking these questions: where can I find the truth? Where can I, How can I? Well, hey, well, if you come up to the camp, you are amongst the church, the real church. All right, and that's where it's at, man. That's what it's about. Matter of fact, I'll read this before I close it out. In the book of Psalm, chapter 3, verse 3, the Song of Psalms, or excuse me, the Song of Solomon, chapter 3, verse 3. I'm sorry, chapter 3, verse 1. By night on my bed I sought him whom my soul loveth. I sought him, but I found him not. I will rise now and go about the city in the streets, and in the broad ways I will seek him whom my soul loveth. I sought him, but I found him not. Because you actually got some jakes. They literally go out there just looking for truth, looking for answers. You actually got Jake. They'll actually go out there looking for the truth. You see? It says, the watchmen that go about the city found me. You see, the watchmen, again, the prophets, the men of the Lord, out there on the highways and byways. You see, you come across a camp, and it's not a coincidence. Now, hey, I'll say this, because you come across a camp, hey, you one way or the other, you're being marked for condemnation, or you're being marked for salvation. Because you more times than none, you're gonna have people come up to the camps just to talk shit, scoff, or whatever. You're gonna have more people get marked for condemnation. More people are gonna get marked to be destroyed. But nevertheless, hey, the watchmen are out there. It says, the watchmen that go about the city found me, to whom I said, saw ye him whom my soul loveth? Talk about wisdom, right? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, right? It says, I was but a little that I passed from them, but I found him whom my soul loveth. I held him and would not let him go, and until I had brought him into my mother's house, and into the chamber of her that conceived me. So yeah, that was the point. Hey, the watchmen out there about the city, man, out there in the highways and hedges, the highways and byways, the chief place of concourse, as the scriptures talk about. You see? And those are the little sanctuaries, all right? And again, that's the real church. That's where you're going to find the truth, the real truth, nothing but the truth, all right? So just a quick hit, man. Hopefully this is edifying. All praises to Yahweh Bashem Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh Bashem Shai broke a thumb to you, hopefully elect. Lord's willing, until next time. Shalom.